Hey guys, Deathscyp here from YCG, your casual gamer, and the next few episodes we'll be working with UMGs and Unreal Engine 4. Now, what does UMG stand for? The UMG is the Unreal Motion Graphics. It's a designer tool that allows you to create UI elements such as menus, stats bar, and pop-up text, or really anything you want to be brought to your game user screen. Now, when working with UMGs, you'll come across a few terminology, and I want to go through them with you. The first two is going to be the UI and the HUD. The UI, known as the user interface, and the HUD, the heads-up display, will always be present in your game because it's the only way the game has to present information to the player, and it's the only way you can use that to do, and also to interact with them, like to open a door and being prompted with a question to do so. That would be through the UI or the HUD. The UI, the user interface, is going to be more for menus and taskbar and anything that you want to add to the screen. And you can have many of them at the same time in the same screen. The HUD, the head-up display, this has to be present for each human-controlled player's viewport. What I mean by this is if I'm doing a split screen co-op game or multiplayer game, each screen, even though they're playing on the same viewport, on the same screen, will have their own individual HUD display. And the HUD is going to be in charge of firing all the UI interaction onto the screen. And what's nice about this is since they're both different, separated instance, this allows me to give a fully customizable interaction system to both players independently. So if one player comes up to the door and he's prompted to open the door with a UI interface giving him the choice, on the other screen, it's not going to be the same question. It's not going to be there because the interaction was only meant for player one since he's the one that interacted with the door. Now let's jump inside the editor, the UMG editor. So let's delete this one. I just created that before just to make sure my folder wouldn't be deleted when I save. So right click, user interface, and widget blueprint. I'm going to call it tempo again before we give it a function because I'm just going to talk to you about the UMG editor. So when you first create a UMG, you're going to get this over here on the screen. At the bottom, this is going to be in charge of the animation, which you can, we will talk about these in another episode. Basically, it's like a curve editor that allows you to do like color over time or flickering or like brightness or like a fade in. This is what you would use animation for. On the top left, you have your widgets. Like on your phone or any other device, a widget is an application or an editor tool that allows you to create your UI function, your user interface. So like you have buttons, you have checkbox, images. Let's say I want to drag in the image inside the viewport. So you're going to see right away on the right, you're going to get a detail panel that is going to be prompted up, allowing you to change many settings. And on the top over here, you see the slot, canvas panel slot. This is only going to be present if you have a canvas panel. So keep that in mind because the canvas panel is, as you see when I'm hovering over, is the blue lines around over here. And it's very important to your UMG because it allows you to anchor where you want the image to be on your screen. The position, the size, the alignment, and also the Z order. The Z order is very, very fun to work with. Like you see over here, let's say I would have multiple images. Let's see, I drag a few more like that. And now they're up here. I'm just going to make them bigger. So let's put them like that. And then the next one, I'll put it on the other side. Now let's say I want this one to be behind scenes, so I'm going to go -1 and I can change the color to blue, let's say, and then the second one is going to be 0, leave it there, and the next one I want it to be more forward, so I'm going to set it to 1 and put it to red. And there you go. Now you have 3 colors, like making a flag, but you're going to see one is behind, one is in the middle, and one's in front. And the canvas panel is the one thing that's going to allow me to do that. If I delete that, and then I just bring my image inside the scene, you're going to see that it first of all stretches it all over the screen. I can still play with the scale over here, but if I want to add more images like in front and behind, you're going to notice that the Z order isn't present anymore. So if for your game you just need one image, like an application that has an image background and then the screen for the play, then you don't need the canvas panel. But for anything else, really, you're going to need the canvas panel. So that's the designer tab over here. Also, when you work with UMG, you have a graph part, just like the Unreal Blueprint editor, which allows you to create variables, functions, event dispatcher to communicate between blueprints and UMGs. And like you see over here, we have the event construct that works like a event on begin play. The only difference is that it only fires when you bring the UMG to life, the widget. When you bring it to life, then this is gonna fire. What I mean by this is I'm going to show you right away what I mean right here. So let's make something really simple. So let's delete that images. And let's bring back a canvas panel. I don't know if it's in there. Canvas, there we go. Yeah. I'm going to bring this back. So there we go. Got my canvas. And now I'm going to do a button. You could have just Control Z out of there, but there we go. Now you see, since I've put it here, the button, but my anchor is on the top left. When I get inside the scene, you're going to notice that it's probably, well, you'll see later what I mean by this. Just jump inside the graph, and now you see there's a new variable. It's like a component because I added a button. And from here, I can do a bunch of events. Let's click on plus on the this one over here, on the on-click event, and drag out of there, and let's make a print string, and leave it to hello. Hello's good. It shows that it works if I click on it, or I could say hello user. There you go. Compile and save out of there, and now let's bring it to our scene. So inside the Factory 2, go inside the level blueprint, and on event begin play, we are going to do create widget. Now, if I wanted to, I could leave it like this. Actually, no, I need to go get my widget, which is the tempo, my UMG. Now, if I wanted to, I could leave it like this, but right now, if you had an event on construct, like I was explaining over here, it wouldn't fire yet, because all I did is I created it. It's only going to work when I add it to my viewport, which right now is not the case. I just created it. It's like I loaded in the background and it's not on the screen yet. So let's drag out of there and add to viewport. I can even choose the Z order when I do so. Now that it's adding to the viewport, as soon as I jump into play, you're going to see my button happens in the screen. But as I was saying, since the anchor was on the top left, this is where the button spawned. Now how do I do if I want to keep it in the center at all times? I can just go inside the tempo and get to the designer tool, go to the anchor while selected on the button, and click on middle. Save everything, and then if I jump back in the screen, it's going to be right there in the middle of the screen. And if I click on it, you're going to see hello user, hello, 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 and it works. So this was the introduction to the UMG world in Unreal Engine 4. And the following episodes, we'll be working on the health system, a basic health system with a life bar and how to interact with it. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed this, and see you next time.